As the camera comes up, we're following Karen as Karen makes her way through public transit. It's late afternoon on Friday, the group having gone their separate ways after Thursday evening's somewhat disastrous effects or events. As Karen makes her way through the terminal out of the train station, you see a small child come up and sort of bump into Karen, and the camera focuses in and sees a hand just dip into the purse and out, retracting nothing. So the child just breaks off and goes its own way. Karen continuing her way through the train station.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming I didn't notice that it happened.
I don't know. Give me a roll if you'd like.
No shit.
Then merely the jostling of another passenger in mass transit as you make your way through.
Am I in the central terminal or just a terminal?
Your call.
I think I'm on the way through the central terminal. I've just recently left the base and then stopping in, and I want a snack on the way. Might stop and maybe see my little friend. Little bodega in the back.
As you walk up to the bodega, there is a police crime scene tape around the bodega.
Okay. Huh. How odd. He never takes a day off unless he has to.
Do you take a moment? Do you peer inside?
Yeah, take a peek, see what's going on, if I can.
There is a pool of blood on the floor and a body draped with a cloth draped over it.
Oh. Is there a security officer like out front at all?
Yeah, there's a cop posted.
Karen wanders up to one of them and says, "Oh, this is tragic. Did a patron get shot?"
Ma'am, back up. This is a police crime scene. No interference, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just knew the man who ran this shop. I wanted to make sure he was okay.
Well, you can do that another day, We're securing the scene. Move along. No pictures.
Okay. All right. Wonder if it's another case of brittle bones, Tony. All right. Well, hopefully this is resolved soon. I'd love to stop by and see my friend Apu. Karen wanders off, apparently dejected because her friend isn't there. In the process, though, on the way out, Karen decides to maybe pull out her codex and notices there's something else in her purse. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh. Lovely little note. Thank whoever gave me that. Okay. Okay. Well, Karen, on the way, is swinging by her house to get that little black dress that she purchased a couple of days ago with Krill.
Okay. As you make your way out of the terminal, heading towards your apartment, firmly within the sort of sales and economic zone, the camera sweeps away and flows through the city, through the hustle and bustle of a Friday evening, leading into an evening, as some shifts let out, as many of the corporate drones that inhabit the area, as many of the people from the actual corporate zones find their way back through the central terminal, back through the transit system, the city starts to liven up. You start to smell the food being prepared in preparation for the night's activities, as workers want to let off a little steam. As Friday nights liven up. Camera finds its way down an alley, swoops into a building. Familiar. How do we find Krill?
Krill is hunched over the table. She is looking at her work, the broken pistol from the night before. She sees schematics running through her eyes for so many projects that are just been untouched. Her productivity has taken a dive since this whole team's projects have come about. And she's still expected to work on a car later today, somehow, before a race. It is starting to wear on her. One thing that isn't leaving her mind, though, is the carcass in the other room beneath a tarp. Her old form waiting to be experimented on. As she sits there wondering if she should indulge in such creativities or stay focused on the task at hand. It's could drive someone mad, the machinations running through her mind. You know what? I need my team to be at my full efficiency. And as the camera sweeps behind her, she moves into the other room. Her small, petite, womanly frame cascading over a mechanical monster. You know, as efficient as this new form is, as she pulls up her old head, there's a lot about you I miss. I'd like that back. And, it's just this solemn look on her as she stares into the multi-eyed carcass. I need to get back to where I was. And better. And you, me, us. We'll do it better this time.
As you say this, the camera pans around. Do we see anybody else in the base?
I'll say you probably do see Troy's body, but I think he's still currently on the net.
On the net? You say still. Is he on the net or is he in the local network as
He's sorry, I should have clarified. He's in the local network still.
Okay. Okay. Still poking around in there, I see.
Yes.
As we see Troy's body, the camera sort of just into the body, into the mind space, through the darkness, and how do we find Troy?
His status has definitely improved over the last time we found him. It's still a bit of a mess on this network as he's kind of hyper-focusing on this little project he was working on now. More panels are closed up, and now there's less wires hanging around. Monitors aren't as fritzy and full of displaying irrelevant information. He's beginning to kind of learn how all this sort of just works together. By and large now, he's completed a good portion of the hallway project he was working on. Several of the doors are working now. And occasionally he still finds one that doesn't work or is working improperly. And he gives it, but with just his previous experiences, he is a little bit quicker figuring out how to get each one to start operating. Otherwise, not a whole lot has changed. It's still just a process that he's working on.
Has he worked on fixing what he broke, or is the base still in a bit of disrepair?
Still in a bit of disrepair. I'll say a couple of things. You're not referring to the gun, right? I don't think Troy has
merely
the ability
being
to repair.
very generalized as far as the systems of the base go.
A few things are fixed, yes. The language is now finally back on to English, and he now knows how to prevent that from going off of into another language. Several of the monitors are now displaying correctly, and Krill now has full access, undisturbed, to the table.
Progress is progress.
There's still a few things. The garage door can't open right now.
Okay.
And Troy kind of knows what to do to fix that. He just hasn't gotten around to it because he's kind of preoccupied with his own project. Other than that, yeah, Troy's just kind of chugging along, typing up little pieces of code, plugging some little wires into here, seeing where you probe this little piece of code here and something else over there lights up, and that means that, oh, I can go take this signal and patch it over here, or create a new route to a new patch over here.
As Troy lost in the local network, building his security project, attempting to undo most of the damage he did to the localized networks. Camera switches. How do we find Patty?
There's kind of that shift in the camera as it moves over a few blocks. Basically, Patty went down a little bit to give Krill some space to work on some stuff, but was giving her like a couple more minutes in case she wanted a place to stay for the night. But Patty's trying not to go too hard before waking up early tomorrow to help Dalton get like a little stretching in. She it's like she burns a lot of relationships with a lot of bars, but she's got this one little spot that she knows where she can get like one drink free from helping with some issues one time. So she's probably nursing it, trying to keep it quiet for the night, probably about halfway through the drink. She's just trying to keep calm, trying to pay attention, make sure no one's going to start any shit, you know. She, after dealing with the whole brittle bones Timmy, she's not eager for more shit tonight.
We see Karen walking out of her apartment, now in a little black dress. The secret tool in every woman's arsenal. Nice evening cocktail dress. Good for a night out on the town. Good for convincing somebody they should buy you something. Good for talking your way in the front of a building, and good for convincing somebody that you may be a damsel in distress. Who knows? It's the Swiss Army knife of fashion for a woman who knows what to do with it. Where's Karen headed off to?
Karen's, let's see, it's late afternoon.
We're moving into evening.
Yeah, Karen's heading to Sotobello. Setobello.
Are you taking a car? Are you gonna board public transit? How are we getting there?
Car.
Okay. It's a robotic taxi pulls up in front of your house. It's your apartment complex, your condo complex, as it were, really. And Karen gets in, and the car sweeps her away. Not that far from the well. Further into some of the more ritzy area of the commerce section, of the commerce zone, you find more greenery. You find almost a breath of fresh air. You find less dinge, less dirt, more well-maintained. You see almost smaller shops, which, when real estate is at a premium, is sort of the mark of opulence. It's when you don't have to stack them 19 high. When you can just have a freestanding building. We see Karen pull up outside a building. Quaint little Italian restaurant, having been here before. Car pulls up out front, sliding in silently. What's Karen do?
Karen pulls out her codex after stepping out, and before heading in, gives Nerty One a quick call.
It goes to voicemail.
Sure. With on that note, Karen heads inside.
As you open the door, you're very quickly greeted by a cheerful young hostess. She glances at you with the knowledge of a hostess who knows her regulars and says, "Welcome to Setabello. Do you have a reservation?"
Oh, I seem to have slipped my mind to have one of those.
"Oh, well, and she glances down at her book and she says, "Well, the tables are full up right now, but we do have a couple of seats open at the bar if you are more than happy to just have a drink. We could
The bar will do for now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if something opens up, would you like a table or are you just here for a drink with us tonight?"
If something opens, it'd be wonderful to know.
Okay, well, I will keep you in mind if it does. Just follow me, and our bartender. It's 6 feet, right? It's a small place. This is a very small, intimate, dark wood, dark reds, dark browns. You can smell the liqueur. You can smell the tobacco richness of this place. You can smell the pipes and cigars that have been smoked through the years in this building, in this room. It is it's the definition of an intimate space. The bar, and then just a few two-person tables and a very small wall, and then a few tables and a booth in the corner. And as she just sort of steps you to the bar, and she very quickly transitions from, "Will you just follow me?" And our bartender TJ will take care of you. You see a man who's about late 30s possibly, working on mixing a drink. Sort of the universally calming presence of a bartender, right? Like not just somebody who works as a bartender, but somebody who is a bartender. He's got that disarming smile. He's got that just sort of immediate, almost marshmallow warmth to him that just sort of makes you feel like you've been here your whole life. Anybody who sits down at his bar is instantly a regular sort of thing. Always the type to always remember what somebody drinks, right? Just the consummate barman. And as you sit down, he immediately, just effortlessly, puts a coaster down and pays attention to you. "What can I get the lady tonight?"
Well, usually I go for something dark and smoky and neat.
Well, would the lady like a single malt scotch, perhaps? Very masculine drink for a very feminine lady.
What's the reserve?
Well, we have a few drinks on hand. We have an Orkney single malt scotch. We have the Loch Lomond Nebula. We have a Sky Infinity, though I find their latest batch to be wanting slightly. We have an Odd Inverclyde.
Loch Lomond sounds interesting. I've heard of... You have a McAllister's?
the lady knows her scotches. We do, but given the nature of a McAllister Celestial Reserve, as I'm sure the lady's aware, it's a very rare product, and so the bottle is the owner's bottle. So, unfortunately, I'm not able to pour from it for you tonight.
Appreciate you letting me know. I've heard of it. Figured if there was any place I might find it, this might be one of them.
It is a fine product. As I'm sure you're aware, the nano aging and barreling process, and then the relative gravity process of distancing it from our particular planet and speeding it up as fast as possible so it ages differently than what it would here, is a very expensive process to engage in for the purposes of a whiskey, as a scotch, as it were. But our owner has very fine taste.
Apparently. Well, if I can't have the best, I guess I could settle for a Laclaman Nebula.
Very good. It is. I'm sure it will be live up to your expectations fabulously. It's very smoky, very peaty. You'll get notes of almost burnt caramel and a spice, almost peppery on the front. As he gets a small tumbler out and just drops a little bit into it and slides it across to you. He corks that bottle back up. Thump.
Cheers.
If the lady needs anything else, by all means, I'm here to serve. And he's
Now, one thing before you saunter off. Now, you did mention the owner is a fan of this. Now, I wouldn't be able to find him here tonight, would I?
Oh, if Mr. Bayette is the one holding court in the corner.
Aaron turns to look.
There is a not boisterous. Boisterous would be incorrect. There's a level of cultivation, whether natural or whether intentional, to the man that you see in the booth in the corner. But very much well-spoken, well-to-do. Putting on airs? Maybe. Difficult to tell. He's seated at a corner table, at a corner booth, with what appears to be a couple based on their spacing from one another. Middle-aged man and woman who, to your eye, aren't poor. Based on their demeanor, based on their clothes, based on how they're conducting themselves, it would seem that Mr. Bayette is having a Friday night out, possibly with friends.
Okay. Thank you, TJ.
Oh, you're
I
quite
appreciate
welcome.
that.
I didn't quite get your name.
You can call me Kay.
Okay, then. Well, Kay, I'll be sure to remember. Laclaman Nebula.
Thank you, dear.
TJ takes the bottle, Goes back to the end of the bar, placing it back up on the shelf.
Who's sitting at the bar next to me?
There's an empty seat to your left. You're at the end of the bar, so there is no one technically next to you, though the hostess stand is well within throwing range if one wanted to. One seat over, though, there is a sort of, I'd say, mid-30s gentleman who's nursing a drink.
Karen leans over to the mid-30s gentleman to her left and says, "Have you managed to eat here? I hear the food is just amazing."
He looks up. He's got a little bit of a notepad and a pen next to the drink that he's just sort of spinning, just nursing it. And he looks up. What?
Have you managed to eat here? I hear it's very good.
Oh, and he sort of like looks around. He's like, yeah, the food's good. Yeah, it's not usually, I come here just to, well, work.
You're working? What are you working on?
Oh,
If you don't mind me asking.
I'm a journalist.
Oh. The digital papers, or is this something on camera?
Oh, I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I freelance for I mean, well, anybody who will pay me. But you know, I'm an investigative freelance journalist, and I just, you know, I look into this, I look into that, and this is I like the atmosphere. It helps me write. And
Ever learn anything?
as he says it helps me write, you see him turn his notepad over, and he just sort of turns to you slightly.
Well, this seems like an interesting place with interesting people. Did you ever pick up any story while you were here?
I try not to shit where I eat.
A smart choice if one continues to want to eat.
So, it's a beautiful lady like yourself doing, and he looks to the empty bar stool next between you and by yourself on a Friday night.
Well, originally I'd had a plan with someone to meet here, but on the way they canceled, and I'm not about to have a bad night just because they can't have fun.
Pretty lady like yourself getting canceled on. What's the world's coming? What is the world coming to?
Only thing I can figure is that I was too much for them and they didn't know how to tell me.
He gives you a look up and down, sort of pausing at the ankle. I can see that.
This freelance journalism, you must do well if you're able to set up shop here.
I make sure I keep a liquor budget. one must lubricate the machinery, as it were.
Is that the only interest that you find for extracurriculars?
I will admit, my work tends to consume me.
And it doesn't sound like that's in the fun way.
It depends. If you like getting shot at, or chased out of establishments, or threatened on a regular basis.
Actually sounds very fun.
A lady who likes to live on the wild side of things, in a short black dress on a Friday night in this bar. You're a dangerous woman.
You're a decent investigative journalist, it appears.
Still alive, aren't I?
It's a good filter. Now, I was here for other reasons originally, but you are very interesting. What is your name?
Ethan. Ethan Carter. And yours?
Miss K.
Miss
At least
K.
for tonight.
Mysterious. Vague.
K could be K-A-Y. I'm not sure.
It could be, but it isn't, is it? So, Miss K, what are your plans now?
Mostly I'm interested in seeing if I can get a bite of this food. The drink is nice.
As Karen and her new companion Ethan continue their tete-a-tete, the camera starts to pull away from them as they face each other at the bar. And the last thing we see as the camera pulls further and further away towards the back wall is that Ethan slides his drink over and gets up and sits down at the stool next to her. What do we find Patty up to?
Time's out for Krill. So she's like, well, she's been there long enough. She's probably going to be staying there for the night. She's probably gone through her drink at this point. She leans over to the person running this bar and she's like, hey, you need to help her around for the moment for this drink. I know we have that whole thing going from that shit I helped you with, but like, I don't know. I got nothing else to do if you need anything to help pass the time.
The bartender looks at Patty. Says, you trying to get out of paying for drinks?
I mean, I'm willing to do a little bit for you if you want me to pay for the drink. I just don't have the cash on me.
Fucking deadbeats.
You fucking set up this whole first drink deal. not my fault I'm taking advantage of it.
You see the bartender sort of just glance back, and you feel a on your shoulder.
Security guard?
There's a Nears makes no difference, 6'8", 6'10", security guard / bouncer standing over your shoulder.
Alright, fair enough. Stand up, don't cause any trouble. Give a 2-finger salute and walk out.
As you reach the door, give me a roll.
Okay. Oh god. First. Plus 1, so.
The forceful shove to you out the door doesn't cause you to fall over, luckily. But it does project you away from the door.
There's a moment where as soon as she gets pushed, she's about to throw that swing. She takes a moment where she's like, I can't be certain shit. Not tonight. No. She actually pulls up her codex and pulls up a whole running list of different bars that she's been kicked out of. And she's like, well, there's that one. That one's gone. What's the next one?
We see Patty sort of add synth and tonic to the list of banned from.
She scrolls down. All right, well, yeah, that one. If it's working tonight, he usually gets me 1 drink for free. She works that one, but last time didn't go so well. Why is it so hard to get a drink around here? I'm not trying to cause trouble. Fuck. Okay. God. What time is it right now?
6, maybe 6:30.
God. Still got 6 hours to go at least until she gets some sleep. So she's basically like, what the fuck do I do right now? She starts walking. She's just kind of wandering at this moment. She's got a drink in her, which she was able to get through, but she's not eager to cause some shit at the moment. So she starts wandering, just passing by more than anything. She's just wandering just to help pass the time. Just seeing anything interesting.
There we go. As you walk down the street, you see hollow billboard ads advertising, Orions and Guardian Eye, and you see real meal deals. You see the Life Forge kits. You see ads for Kevin's Hack Shack and the Fusion Wellness Center. You see just this bombardment, this cacophony of advertising that is walking down a street in NSF, but especially at a Friday night. It's not full fervor yet, but the people who do have weekends are most assuredly starting to have their weekend. And so the streets are coming alive. There's more traffic on the road network. There's more drone traffic overhead from delivery drones going to and fro for people who are like, fuck it, I'm already too drunk, or let's get the food delivered, or this, that, and the other. Right. So the smells of street food, the lights of the neon and the holographic ads, the street noise of electric motors going by and the whir of propellers overhead sort of just envelops Patty. It just sort of is almost this numbing, comforting white noise. That
When you live in a city your entire life, you just kind of... It feels both connected and isolating, where you feel as if you could touch anything, but then you feel as if you're touching nothing. But as Patty's wandering, she's a little bored, so she might see if there's any bars she could sneak into to watch a local show, see if anything interesting's going on. She's got time to kill, see if there's any people singing or making different concerts at the moment just to pass the time.
as you sort of walk through sections from areas and just sort of little neighborhoods and portions of zones, you find yourself at in front of the bullet hole.
Okay. Does it have a cover charge to get in, or is it just open?
It's just open. There seems to be somebody standing near the door, just keeping an eye on things. But as near as you can tell, it seems to be some sort of military or security themed bar.
Am I getting a veteran bar vibe?
You are.
Oh, God. Well, could get a drink that way. She walks up to the security, just slow, easy, and she's like, "Hey, any interesting acts on tonight?"
Very well built out dude. Jittery, but based on how quickly he snaps sort of like to attention with you, he seems to be very quick, very alert.
Eddie, soldier, I'm just asking a question.
You see that there's cybernetic eyes, so there may be some sense of motion sensitive tracking that's going on here. He just looks at you and gruffly, "Act. We don't have entertainment."
God. I'm just got laid off from MedTech recently. I'm just trying to find something to do, help pass the time until I get another job, you know?
Oh, well, come on in then.
All right. What's your name, by the way?
Twitch.
Twitch, Patty. And she just passes on by, doesn't just heads on in, and just what is she seeing around the area right now?
You see it is most definitely it is most definitely a military bar. It is most definitely a veteran bar, right? It is grim. It is dimly lit, with sort of stale beer and the distant aroma of some fried food and possibly something that has been burned or smoked, right? Squeaky floors underneath your feet. You have the unique sense that if a brawl broke out here, it would be the 10,000th brawl and nobody would even think twice about it, sort of vibe to this place.
This is probably like the fourth or fifth type of bar that she's been. She, in the moments that she would go when she was still with her crew at MedTac, she would hit up other spots that were closer to their workplace. But
there is there's a few people in here, more than a few people, but the clientele is as rugged as the bar itself, right? You seem to see a lot of possibly former, possibly active Varangian military personnel. You see prosthetic limbs, you see combat scars. The bar itself decorated with military memorabilia, ranging from old Varangian flags on the wall to deactivated grenades that seem to be serving as paperweights for the napkin stack. Right, the bar itself is a piece of metal. Give me a roll.
okay. +0. I'm guessing that's a notice check.
Nope.
All right.
Okay. There is the bar is just made out of some sort of metal. You're not entirely sure about that, but the seating, high back booths around the edges that seem to provide a sort of sense of privacy or a feeling of like defensible spaces.
There is one thing that Patty checked out before she went in: exits and bathrooms, just to know where they are automatically.
There seems to be something, probably a kitchen or a service area to the left, seeing as there is like the traditional swing door attached to it. Bar on the back wall, open at both ends of the bar, and to the right there is sort of an alcove area that leads to a couple of bathrooms, and there is a door back there marked emergency exit. Back towards that corner, towards the bathrooms, there is a dartboard on the wall that doesn't have darts in it, but has knives. Throwing knives in it instead.
Okay. All right, I'm digging it.
There's table over in the corner that you hear the shuffle of cards coming from. There's occasional laughter, occasional shouting, just the ambient noise of a military bar. Occasionally, the music kicks off from the jukebox.
What kind of music are we getting? Are we getting like
Old
2000?
rock and military anthems.
Okay, she's kind of digging it. This is almost her vibe. She kind of fits in, but kind of doesn't. So she's like, okay. She goes over to the dartboard just to check out the knives, see if they're sharp enough to hit the dartboard.
Oh yeah.
Okay. She doesn't pick one up, but she walks back over to the bar and she's like, sits down, sets the bag in front of her, and says, hey, how much is a beer running around here?
The bartender turns around. You can see a prosthetic leg, and a rarity in these modern times. He has an eye patch on. Rather than a prosthetic eye, he has an eye patch. Give me a roll.
Okay. I kind of like lean forward. They probably see kind of that medtech vibe if they check that out at all. That's a +1.
Bartender looks you up and down. Sort of sees the beaten demeanor
Mm.
of Patty and slides a beer across to you. As he reaches under, he turns around to reach under the back bar to get a bottle opener. You see right next to the bottle opener is a shotgun. He pops the top off, slides it across to you, and he says, "It's on the house, soldier."
Appreciate it. I'm on my last fucking creds. So, yeah. What happened to your leg?
Yeah. Got blown off.
Was it at least cool?
Wasn't really conscious for it.
Ah. Tell me they got a video at least.
Oh, I'm sure somebody does, but those pencil pushers won't release any battlefield footage for the purposes of our requests.
That's bullshit, right? Like, if I got my leg blown off, I'd at least want to fucking see how it was done, you know?
I wanted to keep it, but we couldn't find it.
Well, I guess I hope someone's getting something out of it, but you know.
Yep, probably just nourished the land.
What is it? Blood and creds, I guess.
Yep, something like that. So,
Yeah.
who kicked your puppy?
Who hasn't?
I hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, first puppy kicking was my own damn fault, and everything else is just kind of everything after.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
What's your name, by the way?
Gruff.
Rough. Patty has a moment, and she looks at the guy. She looks at like where she is, and says, "I'm up, Chuck."
I'd up, Chuck.
Hmm.
I won't ask how you ended up with that one, but I can imagine.
Yeah. I'd say I don't have a good time always dealing with people. That's best I got there.
He sort of just speaks to the whole bar. Hey everyone! Upchuck here says they don't have a good time dealing with people. There's just sort of a chuckle. There's this rolling sort of laugh, that like this knowing belly laugh from several of them. That this is a room full of PTSD, of antisocial personality disorders, of broken human beings. None of them deal with people well. There's no one in here who knows how to have a functional relationship with anybody who isn't somebody like them in this room right now. Yeah.
She just holds up her drink and just takes a sip from it.
Gruff takes a bottle of white liquor out from under the bar, pours a shot, and then you see him take another bottle of just something red and on top. And he goes, "Drill sergeant on the house. Give me a roll."
Oof, -2.
It is
It's rough.
extraordinarily spicy. This is basically Everclear. This is functionally just pure ethanol.
Yeah,
with-
the Everclear kind of bothers her, but the spice is ugh.
With just hot sauce on top. And in that moment, you see behind him a drinks list. There's 3 signature drinks on a chalkboard, and the top one is the drill sergeant. It's high proof liquor with dash of hot sauce.
What the fuck do you call that? Holy shit!
He just thumbs the chalkboard.
Yeah, well. Want a woman next time. That. Jeez.
Yeah,
That's good shit, but holy fuck.
it's good for you.
Hmm.
As,
Gets the blood flowing.
as Patty's coughing, and choking, and making conversation with her new comrades, having found a place where maybe she fits in slightly. The camera transitions. What's Troy up to?
Still continuing along with this little project. This time, though, he's holding kind of a digital book in his hand as he's continuing working on. He downloaded a manual for the code that he's using a while ago, but it never really made much sense to him. Now that he's had a chance to poke at some code and see how things work, the manual's actually starting to become decipherable to him. And it's beginning to speed the process along as he just kind of types in a code here, patches in a wire there. Desiring a slight break every once in a while, he exits his project to go maybe fix a thing or two that he might have broken in the server and the base. One of the things that he starts with is probably one of the more obvious ones. He's going to just recover the code for the garage door real quick.
Give me a roll.
Alrighty. Watch it be -4. Okay, +1. I'll take that.
Consider it done.
Sweet. Alright, he's noticed one of the monitors is still on the fritz. Things are unaligned. It won't display things properly. He's going to just give that thing a little bit of a poke. See if maybe just a quick restart will fix that. Roll or...
Fixes it.
Sweet, okay. I guess satisfied with that current thing, he goes back to working on his little maze project. I don't suppose I need to do any rolls for this one, or...
Well, give me a description of what you're attempting to do.
I'd say he's finished about the first couple, I don't know, 1,000 hallways now. Technically speaking, there's like over a quadrillion hallways with how this is being set up, since he's basing it off of a 64-bit integer that doesn't loop back. He's just kind of trotting along. Every little hallway he makes, every little door he makes leads to a new hallway where he has to go and build those out. He can sort of kind of copy and paste parts of it as a framework, but even that still requires that he has to initialize and work on it to get each and every single one up. It's a process that is slow going, but it's picking up with speed more and more as he begins to learn how it all just kind of fits together.
Give me a roll.
All right. -1, of course.
As Troy starts to gain confidence in what he's doing, and starts to pick up speed, he does start to make more mistakes. And you...
As always fucking happens with this kind of stuff.
Yep. You start to see that your performance starts degrading again. And doors start to misbehave on you.
He sighs, and he just kind of slams the digital book in his hands, which kind of fizzles into a little shower of sparks. As he goes back and rechecks his work, one by one now, because he thought he was on a roll. Turns out he wasn't. And the mistakes he's made are not as grave as the ones he's made earlier, luckily, but there's still mistakes that he has to undo. This door is not supposed to go to that hallway. That door, for some reason, just doesn't open again. It just takes time, but he goes between every little door, backtracks a little bit to some of his other previous hallways, having assumed that, he was working fine, and now apparently he wasn't. Most of them are fine. He finds every once in a while a little mistake that he initially missed, though. The process of fixing is not as hard as it used to be, but it still kind of becomes tedious.
Give me a roll with advantage.
All right. +1.
Troy, having learned from his mistakes, his little bit of first wave arrogance, first wave overassurance, overconfidence. Like, I got this. Okay, maybe I don't have this. And actually paying attention to each line he's putting down, actually paying attention to the functions and procedure calls he's writing, actually paying attention to the sort of the libraries that he's constructing in this process. Now it starts to go smoothly. Now Troy's starting to learn the error of his ways, as it were. And things do start to pick up. Things do actually start to, because when you're not having to backtrack anymore, and things are one by one, I'm not skipping along as fast as I wanted to, but I'm not backtracking anymore either. So I am actually moving faster. I am actually saving time in the long run at this point. So things do start to go. And as we watch Troy work up and down this hallway, and the camera sees a door just sort of open, and we see Troy working there, and boom, the door closes on the camera. And a door opens. And as the door opens, we see Krill on the other side. What's Krill up to?
Krill is in a macabre scene. The lights, she doesn't need them as bright as others. They're low lit. There is thumbing music now. Her heavy Discordian bass filling her and it overwashing her as she is elbow deep in her carcass, hanging from the ceiling by a chain, as she is removing both flesh and machine piece by piece, laying it on the table next to her.
Give me a roll.
-1.
Okay. Continue as you were.
She's not well tuned when it comes to the bio, organics specifically, but she is still trying to learn everything she can whilst in the process. Each little bit from her old body being removed, either with the help of the mechanical arms or just her own tools and hands.
How is she learning? What is
taking constant recordings and light scans where she can to get 3D apertures. Well, using like a 3D scope, she takes in each connection point, nerves meeting tissue, muscle stretching across bone. She's trying to understand how bio is truly mechanical in nature. She's using herself as her own little dissection dummy. What left of the human is all hers to play with. And having, like once we first saw her, that little bounce in her step to her music, she's just planning away as holograms project on the table for just ideas and quickly wash away as she's just succumbed with creative energy until she finds it. She finally exposes the spine, or what was the spine in her. The large mechanical computing surface that crooked her over like a shrimp is now mostly free of the flesh directly connecting to it. and her true machinations can begin. As she plans to recreate her neural connection patterns with her drones and become her own network source once again.
Camera cuts from this macabre scene, this Edwardian nightmare. And we find ourselves in a jovial atmosphere again. A restaurant, a bar. And we find ourselves just halfway into a conversation. And we hear Ethan saying, and so they refused to publish the story because, I mean, well, what are you going to do when you expose somebody's family and boss as a corrupt mobster? They tend to not want to publish that on your behalf, but it's okay. I put it on the net, and the story got out. They lost the business, but man, would have loved to have gotten paid first.
And I'm sure the extra tale that you've picked up or two from them is also really nice.
It's an interesting thing. Occasionally, if you're really lucky, just sure you hear the jingle of the rocks in the glass, and he takes a sip. He says, if you're really lucky, you can get the tail or the assassin to take out the other tail or assassin. It's great. I've only had it happen once, but it can be done.
Pulling it off once is actually, that's impressive. Okay.
So here I am going on and on about myself. I suppose it's the one vice an investigative reporter has, the opportunity to actually speak about himself, as I'm usually the one asking questions. But a beguiling beauty such as yourself has effects on a man. And he looks at the alcohol, the empty glass, and TJ slides over and tops up his glass. So, tell me more about yourself.
Oh, what's to tell? Well, I'm independent. I work for myself.
Doing what?
A bit of this and that. Have a few irons in the fire. Currently, though, I'm trying to figure out how this ragtag group of misfits I seem to be associated with might be productive.
Team building exercise time, huh?
Well, it's always fun when you're doing that while also trying not to get shot.
It's NSF. You're always trying to not get shot.
True. If you're not doing anything. You know, honestly, I came here because I was here looking for someone in particular.
And did you find them?
I think I did. And I may have found somebody else that might be more interesting. But alas, not why I'm here.
So we must part ways.
It's likely going to happen, yes.
Well, if we must part ways, then at the very least, I would never presume to ask a lady for her contact details, but at least let me provide you mine.
Much obliged.
He reaches into his coat pocket, takes out a codex, and just slides his details across.
Karen looks at the number for a moment and slides hers back towards Ethan.
He smiles, doesn't say anything, and just places it back into his jacket pocket. Well, my dear, while you've been a lovely distraction, I suppose I should get on with my business as well.
Gotta finish that story. Gotta get paid.
Gotta tell the truth.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Ethan takes his notebook, folds it back over, takes his pen, puts it in the jacket pocket, downs the rest of the drink, and you see him just sort of to TJ and go, "On my tab."
TJ, dear, could I use just a little more in this cup?
He comes over, uncorks the bottle, gracefully adds maybe 2 fingers worth of liquid, corks it back up, but of course.
Now, TJ, before you head out, would I be too out of pocket if I went and maybe tried to talk to the owner?
TJ sort of assessing the situation, sort of peers over and glances back. Mr. Bayette's probably comfortably lubricated.
What wonderful news. Thank you so much, TJ.
You're quite welcome.
Raises her glass, takes a small sip, and turns to Gavin. Starts heading in that direction.
As you approach, the woman is speaking to Gavin, and mostly there's a man and a woman, basically both fairly middle-aged, though it's difficult to tell. They're well-kept, well taken care of. Their clothes have the sort of understated demeanor of money. They're not very fancily dressed. They're comfortable. The kind of comfort that you know you can dress in when you don't have to worry. Seated across from Gavin, she's mid-conversation about, and one of the few that I would make you do, give me a roll.
Zero.
Karen. She is, based on what you know, mid-conversation about Azure Haven. Given that she is Gavin, you must go with us next time. The scrubbed atmosphere and the water within the capsule, it is amazing. It is absolutely pristine out there. They clean the water, they clean the air. It's as if climate change and pollution never even occurred. You can even go diving off the coast, and they have the water stocked with all sorts of exotic flora and fauna. It's absolutely marvelous. You must go with us next time. You work so much. You, knowing your well-to-do talking points, realize she's talking about Azure Haven, the resort off the coast of NSF, in which they are in an encapsulated resort. It is a luxury island that is floating in its own cleansed atmosphere. There is a submarine as well as an atmospheric element to this island. They have pristine white sand beaches that they have constructed. They have crystal clear waters teeming with vibrant wildlife that they have stocked. There's a rejuvenated atmosphere that is constantly scrubbed and purified to, well, enhance your well-being, right? The skyline is a panoramic vista in which they disappear NSF using holographic imagery. It's as if you're on an island in the South Pacific in pristine waters. It is absolutely as pure an atmosphere, pure an environment, and the entirety of the island, it almost has a teardrop shape to it because it goes down and down and down into the abyss a little bit. And so you can go on diving expeditions underneath the island. You can sun yourself on the beach all day long and see species that aren't on islands anymore. It is a highly exclusive resort.
Karen, interrupting, says, "Oh yeah, if you haven't been, book yourself at least a week and a half. I would say 3, because it will fly by and you'll want 3 more."
The woman glances up, glances back to Gavin. Listen to the women in your life, Gavin. We know what is best. It's within our nature. Oh, excuse me, dearie. Do we know you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't help but hear. I love Azure Haven. I couldn't help interrupt. My name is Karen. It's a pleasure to meet you. But
Well, if you've been to Haven, then we must know some of the same people. We must run in the same circles. My name is Zafira, and this is my husband, Jackson.
Zafira.
Yes.
What a beautiful name.
Have we seen you at the art gallery?
It's possible, but I have a feeling I, like our friend here, don't get out as much as I should.
Ugh, God. Another workaholic. Jackson, Gavin, and now Karen. I'm surrounded by people who don't know how to enjoy themselves. But at least you've peeled yourself off for a proper vacay from time to time.
Yes. I would like to say that I visited there for things beyond business, but Unfortunately, that tends to be the reason I end up there.
Tragic. Work vacations sound like my husband. Gavin stands up and he says, he holds out his hand and he goes, "Lovely to meet you. My name is Gavin Bayette. I'm the proprietor of this establishment."
Oh, so you're Mr. Bayette. I've heard about you. I've heard about this place. It's my first time coming.
Oh, well, I hope the staff has been treating you exceptionally well. Someone with as fine taste as yours must have discerning taste.
Oh, they've been more than complimentary.
Oh, good. Well, you must pull up a seat. No, I will. And he shuffles over in the booth and he goes, "Please join us."
Oh, much appreciated. Thank you. I feel so honored sitting with the owner.
Oh, it's nothing. It's just a little treat for myself, this restaurant.
Oh, I could only assume this is a lovely place, but not the kind of establishment that sends one to Azure Haven all on their own.
Oh, well, that, yes. Business.
Yes. Now, what are you involved in, if you don't mind me asking?
Zephira speaks up. She goes, "Oh, they're boring. Jackson here is a financial risk analyst. Gavin over there, at least is an enterprising young man. He runs a delivery service of sorts. And we own and curate an art gallery. That's how we met Gavin. As his import-export business handled a rather rough set of transportation needs that we had for a demanding artist." Gavin, seizing upon this moment, and goes, "Yes, my daddy left me a rather, albeit meager, import-export business. It was a well-established blue-collar enterprise, but Daddy always ensured that I had attended the finest of educational institutions, and as such, when he unfortunately passed, I was more than prepared to helm the organization and lift it up from the blue-collar working man's enterprise that it was, and expanded over the horizons into what is now the premier last-mile delivery service for NSF's, well, most healed clientele."
Quite enterprising indeed.
One must be prepared to seize upon an opportunity, no matter how tragic it was.
Now, sadly, it also sounds like working yourself into a corner. You've improved things, but more work.
You hire people, but yes, ultimately, one must bear the responsibility.
But, like our friend Zephyr over here, when was the last time you went to Azure Haven?
Oh, many, many moons ago.
Now, I think that is a problem.
Jackson, entering the conversation for the first time. So, if I may ask, what does a lovely lady such as yourself do for Enterprise?
I'm a facilitator.
Give me a roll.
+1.
You see a look of recognition in Jackson's eyes. Ah, okay. Well, anything in particular you aid in?
I have several things I do, but making people feel comfortable is a easy one to pick up time here and now. But I facilitate many things.
Zafira, either oblivious or not caring to what's actually happening here, right? Oh, well, Gavin is, in essence, a facilitator of sorts as well. He helped facilitate the arrival of that last shipment of art. It was lovely of you, Gavin, by the way, despite the gauche nature of some of these artists these days.
Yes, yeah. They tend to be quite demanding of the most peculiar things.
I personally, we had to reboot the art gallery. It was a nice classical art gallery. I have my art history degree, and it give me a good old-fashioned oil painting any day. But the wealthy, the elites of today, need something that pushes the boundaries. And so we consulted with a PR and marketing firm, and as a result, now we have ABN FHU, of course. I'm sure you've heard of us. And as a result of that, we now show all of these sorts of existential pieces. We show all of these sort of transcendental pieces that are supposed to make you think and be in your head rather than just give you something beautiful to look at and appreciate.
I simply despise that trend.
Last piece we had right before the incident. I'm sure you all saw what happened on the news with the General Assembly. I personally, I think it was the Russians. They've never been happy with the Global Assembly. Jackson, dear, I don't trust them, Jackson. Russians. Gavin. Zafira, I can assure you it wasn't the Russians that doxed the General Assembly Council. Well, you can say that, but I think they did. Either way, right before that happened, some of the General Assembly and their family actually came through the art gallery to see our latest piece. They stop by from time to time. It's just, you know. So we had to shut down the gallery, and now, I don't want them back. Are you kidding me? After this security snafu, we'll have to close the entire gallery for a week so they can sweep it and do all of their little security measures in the future. It's going to be such an inconvenience, but it's always lovely to see some of them and sell to them.
I'm sure they have quite a collection.
Oh, I've supplied a lot of the artwork to some of, well, the most important people over the years now.
Oh. Quite a friend you have here, Gavin.
Oh, you have no idea. Zafira, she's quite the little minx.
Yes. Jackson, you really snagged a good one, didn't you?
Yes. She snagged me, though, of course.
Woman who knows what she wants. Well done.
She just looks at him and goes, and gets it.
As you should.
The camera cuts. The snap of the fingers. How drunk is Patty?
Not super drunk, but what happens is as it zooms in on Zafira's face for a moment, there's a knife that cuts directly through and splits her face in half to a dartboard.
Cool.
And as her opponent throws the knife, and she's like, I shit you not, Gruff. Here I am, fucking hands deep in some idiot's goddamn heart. I had to keep it pumping just enough, but the IED's connected to it, so I had to keep the voltage just low enough to where his heart will not stop, but that bomb will fucking explode in my face.
You gotta be fucking shitting me. And I mean, clearly you walked out of there alive.
Sometimes I feel like I didn't. Sometimes I swear this is all like me at the last bits of my life, DMT dropping as I'm like clinging to ends.
There's a somewhat drunk veteran standing off to the periphery and goes, that's bullshit.
You know, I would love to show the fucking video, but it was kind of keeping his heart alive in the moment.
You're so full of shit. I want you to, and Gruff turns around, goes, Taylor, you've had enough, man. It's time to call it a night. Only because I respect you, Gruff. You.
Patty just looks at Gruff and just kind of nods. He got someone to give him a ride home?
Danny, come get him. A sort of mid-30s, soft-spoken dude comes over and just puts his arm around him. Goes, come on, man. It's time. It's time. I want some food. I want pizza. It's okay, man. We'll get you some pizza on the way home. Okay. You're full of shit, man.
Probably, but you know what? Not today.
They sort of go, and Graf goes, sorry about that.
It's not the first time. I'm usually the one starting shit, so it's just kind of funny to see it on the other foot.
Yeah. You know, like a lot of us, have seen some pretty fucked up stuff, and
yeah,
he's not really dealing with it too well.
I mean, he's alive. That's something, I guess.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah. The worst part is, you know, if he probably got back in it, he'd probably be fucking sharp as a nail.
Yeah, for a minute. Till he put a bullet in his or someone else's brain.
Mm. Yeah.
So, what are you here running from?
Well, I was running MedTech for a while. Got me where I needed to go, but I decided to have a conscience at the worst fucking moment.
Can't have one of those in this world.
Telling me. The worst part is I'm trying to fucking make ends meet, trying to do what I can, and then just I feel like that's my only way to fucking survive. Like in the middle of it, probably putting a bullet down someone's neck as I'm patching someone else up. It's just, and the worst part is I'm kind of fucking good at it.
It's a problem we see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Soldiers with only soldiering skills.
Mm-hmm. That's what my ex told me before she closed the door in my face.
Once a soldier, always a soldier.
I'll drink to that, and she takes another sip of the beer.
As Patty lifts the beer up to the camera, the bottom of the bottle obscures the camera. And as it comes down, we see Krill.
The camera is cascaded as what was the bottom of the glass is now one of the lenses being lifted out of the socket. One after one meticulously being laid onto the table, glinting in the low light. The body is looking less like a body and more like a science demonstration piece you put up at the front of class. Only desperately placing a few organs here and there. But what is already started is on the table. It's parts of that spine she was so desperately trying to expose are already starting to be remanufactured. And on it, another spine being made. Flat. Almost centipede-like. Climbing like an S shape on the table as each little electronic part is being added. One by one. With a simple test, she sends a ping through the system. Any drones in the room, she's looking to see them look her direction.
Give me a roll.
+1.
Give me 1 second. You get not quite what you were expecting. You get a ping back from drone number 1, Chip.
Now, I was doing the back door procedural, so I should have been able to reach any of them. But Chip is the furthest from me. That is odd. She tries to download the ping's location.
It is on the edge between Zone 3 residential and Zone 4 agricultural, right near the mountain, adjacent to a relatively high-density residential complex that abuts
Between Zone 3 and Zone...
4, the agricultural zone.
It's odd. Why would they be that far out? She's not going to be able to get any status or anything right now. Her device isn't complete. With a bit of urgency, she just looks up into the body and quickly grabs just one more large section of what once was her network device and puts it on the table to be remanufactured. And she's thinking about the time. She's like, that should keep it busy while I'm gone on auto build. She leans away. And she pings Troy. Troy?
You get a
Number
quick
one
reply. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, number one, Chip is in a location that I would never expect him to be with Dalton. I do not know why, but I would like some assistance.
We see Troy just continuously working on his little project when he gets the ping. And there's kind of a slightly annoyed sigh about him as his work is being interrupted. And Krill gets a reply back. Is the matter urgent?
I'm not sure. No world should have Dalton gone that far out. I'm going to message him next, but I just wanted to let you know in case we needed to get somewhere. I'll ping you again if I do absolutely need your assistance, but I have a bad feeling about this. I set my table to auto build whilst I handle this.
Troy sits there thinking for a moment. And considering, I think Troy was aware that Dalton had a race today. And it was against someone that was Dalton had a thing against. Dalton was talking, because Dalton talked a lot about how he was going to kill this guy and stuff.
And that this person had kidnapped him already and put a gun to his head.
Yes. So after considering what he knew about this event, Troy puts a little bit of a halt onto the production of his little security project. And he logs off the net. And his body twitches and turns around. And he walks towards Krill and states, I believe this may be a matter that I should help attend to.
I appreciate it on your insight on this. I'm going to send a message to Dalton. I just have an eerie feeling this is... Number one should have never been that far out. And Krill sends out a message to Dalton. Hey, are you okay? I just got your location data. You seem you seem far out of the norm. Do you need assistance?
Sounding like we're not getting a reply.
Moments pass. Reading. I wonder why we're not getting a reply. Odd. Well, I see nothing better to do than to investigate now. Do we still have one of Dalton's vehicles left about? I think that lifted vehicle with the magnetic shocks is still somewhere about. The one that Patty was driving.
Didn't Patty take that? Oh. Perhaps we should investigate.
Let's. Hi, do we find the car around the corner or anything like that?
I have multiple problems narratively at this point.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel in Krill's character. It feels in
Oh,
Troy's.
she wants her drone back.
It feels in Troy's character, actually, to be just unabashedly curious like that, like a fucking toddler. Like, what? Right? But it doesn't feel like it's in Krill's character to go chasing after something, at least.
She wants her drone back, and Dalton's been the nicest person to her on the entire team.
Okay. Then fine. There is a car parked in the garage.
Oh, that's right.
Oh wait, is Mickey's car parked in the garage?
Yes.
Oh fuck. Yes, Troy knows how to drive. This has actually been discussed multiple times. Patty just never lets Troy drive. The only vehicle I see, and Krill is just pointing a little shakily, that powerhouse of a thing.
I should be able to operate it effectively.
I will have to take your word for it. I am quite nervous about being in such a fast vehicle without someone like Dalton behind it, but there is no time like the present. I just want number one back. I want Chip.
I will obey all of the local traffic laws, and I will not exceed the speed limit unless you wish me to.
I guess that's safe. Somehow I'm disappointed by that last point, but that sounds safe.
I am not programmed to race. I am programmed to chauffeur.
Understood. I did. Do you think Dalton's okay? I'm kind of worried he's just thrown my drone in an alleyway and left it there because it annoyed him.
Dalton's status is difficult to predict. The circumstances of the race that he described to me earlier sounded precarious.
He didn't exactly sound intent on having a fair race. I was excited to help him in making it a unfair advantage in his case, but it seems as if that is not his priority, wherever he is.
Knowing Dalton, he is either distracted with victory or likely dead.
Or
Both
drunk.
outcomes seem equally probable.
Fair. I still want my drone back. Can we go for a drive?
As you wish. And Troy begins making his way back into the garage with the car.
Thank you. Krill sheepishly gets in the passenger side. Again, this is now the second time she's been in a vehicle and it fits right. Like she sits how they're supposed to be sat in. And it almost feels weirder to her now. She's not shrimped in it. Alright. Actually, yeah. This seatbelt fits for once. This is a new experience.
Your anatomy
Now,
is much more suited for a car.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it, but it is useful at this moment.
Indeed. And how is this car activated? A key system, push button start, what?
Oh, yeah, this is a very modern electric vehicle. It is a push button start, if anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Troy doesn't need to do any hacking to turn it on then.
Yeah.
I hope. All right, yeah. Luckily, Troy had just gotten the garage door fixed, narratively. So they just back out of the garage and start making their way out of the alley. And I really hope I don't have to make any rolls for this.
You absolutely do.
I knew I did. Okay. -1.
As you back out into the alley, you just boom. It's not tragic. It's not like you floored it. You know, it is a race car, but yeah, you just managed it. You just hit the opposite wall.
The accelerator on this vehicle is more sensitive than I had anticipated. And Troy just kind of pulls forward and tries again.
Give me a roll.
Ow.
Oh, God. +1, I'll take it.
You angle the car back. You get it into the alleyway, lined up.
Krill has one hand on the dashboard, the other one on the safety handle.
There is no safety handle.
Oh, good.
Shit. So even like one of those ones on the door, or just like
No, you're in a
fuck you?
5-point harness. It's a race car.
Oh shit! Like a roller coaster, she is just gripping onto the handles.
Yep.
All right. Troy's gonna slowly back out of the alleyway now.
Give me a roll.
Yeah, I knew it.
Hey, I had to roll every time
A
I
0.
tried to use myself.
You back out of the alleyway successfully.
Excellent. Okay. Well, at least we're now back onto a road with well, technically more, but also less navigation perils.
Yep.
So remind me again of the last known location of your drone.
We are looking at the border of Zone 3 and Zone 4, the agricultural zone.
It's a residential complex called Eden Heights on the border of 3 and 4.
We're looking for Eden Heights. That was the last known ping location.
It is the easternmost road that you can see on your map at the top of the mountain.
Gotta remember the map is not drawn north. Yeah. All right. Far due east as far as we can. We're looking for Eden Heights. Get as close to the agricultural zone as we can before the border system starts messing with us. That's yeah.
There's just the ever so slight second pause as Troy loads up some navigational coordinates. And we see from his perspective just kind of this digital line superimposed over the road that sort of takes him towards the path, or leads him on a path towards the set location that Krill gave him. And then I guess I'm going to need to do a drive roll again.
You are.
All right, let's go. A 0. Could be worse.
You cautiously press the accelerator pedal. There is a degree of traffic that is honking and going around you and making a very interesting scene given the nature of the car that you're in. It's, you know, there is a race car on the road that is in grandma mode. As you very cautiously make your way, lane changes are signaled entirely too late or long before, right? This sort of situation of just overly cautious, slow. We see at one point Troy driving in the left-hand lane, doing the speed limit exactly.
Troy is that kind of asshole, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Right. Are you sure you were driving the speed limit? Everyone around us is going much faster than us.
I am obeying all my current records of traffic laws. I am not exceeding the speed limit.
This is quite surprising.
I was not designed with reckless driving in mind. I was designed to see to it that my clients or my owners get to their destination as safely as possible.
But Krill wouldn't know that either. As long as we're being safe, but Krill's looking at people like honking at our rear. Is this safe?
The danger is present in the actions of others. I am not doing anything reckless.
Yep, that kind of asshole on the road.
Ruthlessly logical. As this progression of grandmotherly, grand matronly driving makes its way through the road network, surface roads on a Friday night that are already overly packed, being jammed up, and just we see the camera sort of detach from the interior and sort of float up, and it just rotates around, and you see a long trail of just tail lights backing up through the road network as Troy and Krill make their way cautiously through the NSF's nighttime road network.
I'm so embarrassed, and it's not even reality.
as those red lights sort of flicker in the distance, the camera refocuses. How's Karen doing with her newfound friends?
We are commiserating over the fast nature of art turnover. Seems like the classics aren't the classics anymore. Everyone wants something new.
It's so disgusting. The new things they want, they're not even, there's all these intangibles. Let me tell you, I had a group recently in my art gallery set up. It was disgusting. They call it art, but it's not art as far as I'm concerned. I forget what his name was, Pierre Genet or something of something French. People walk in and they've just got people. The art is just a weirdo standing there staring at you. And occasionally you'd walk through and they'd yell something at you. It was something about making you question yourself or your individual nature. So I don't know. It was all heady and thoughty and supposed to make you think twice about our place in the world. Just give me a field of flowers.
Who is he even trying to affect with that? It's just out of touch.
It's all of this. I mean, this is why we named ourselves Art Beyond the New Frontiers of Human Understanding. Right? What kind of name for a gallery is that? But it works. Oh, it works. Oh, the pretentious people that come through with more money than class.
The perfect customers.
Yes. And, I don't mind separating them from their hard-earned creds.
Who does hard earning of creds anyway? And Karen glances over at Gavin.
Jackson looks at Gavin, and Gavin looks at Jackson. And Jackson just says to Gavin, Gavin, my dear, I think we're being spoken about.
Oh no, I've been discovered.
Oh, I'm sure you've been discovered before, my dear. Gavin. Gavin at this point is sort of feeling the evening. And he snaps at TJ. And you see TJ come over, and he's got a bottle. He knows what this snap means already. It's pushing into the night, and Gavin is feeling himself and feeling his wealth. And now you see. You see a McAllister's Celestial Reserve brand bottle. You see the label on it, say batch number 1. TJ wheels out the glasses. Dent, 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 dent. Pours from one to another, to another, to another. Corks the bottle. And just spreads the glasses out on the table. Gavin looks at him and goes, you know how I take mine. And TJ grimaces for a second. He goes, of course, sir. And he picks up the glass and takes it over just a little bit. And you can see the soul deadening process of him tipping in some soda water into the scotch. And he brings it back and sets it in front of Gavin and says, your drink, sir.
Wow, I've never actually seen Celestial Reserve.
I prefer it with a dash of soda water. The bubbles help open it up. Zafira and Jackson are just looking at their glasses. They're down here. They're not looking at that. They're over here in this glass. They know when to just allow the social graces to happen and not question the host.
Erin lifts her glass and tilts it slightly at Gavin and says, "To Azure Haven. May we meet there soon."
He clinks glasses with you. And he says, to some time off. It's a rich, deep, dark, ambered color, but you've got like a blend of traditional and futuristic, right? It's the first whiff has the sort of traditional, comforting, peaty and woody aroma of a traditional Scotch, right? But it's almost difficult to describe, but it's almost as if the undertones are of stardust and circuitry. It's somehow that as you breathe this in, it is caramel and ancient oak and liquid crystal. It's familiar and transcendental at the same time. It has a complexity that is befitting its high standing and unparalleled in anything you've ever tasted before. There's traditional flavors, vanilla and dried fruit, and a touch of spice and old world craftsmanship, but it gives way to these futuristic subtleties, right? The silkiness of the nanite infused texture, the crispness that is almost akin to a perfectly transmitted data packet. It is this mixture of this alchemy that dances on your tongue.
That may be the best thing I've ever tasted. No, it is. It is the best thing I've ever tasted.
Jackson, sipping his, says, and I still haven't been able to find a bottle, and yet somehow this guy manages to find multiple. Gavin looks at him and says, by all means, good man, you can always come to me and we can share a glass. Zafira takes a sip, sets it down, and goes, it's not for me.
Sometimes the boldness can be too much.
Jackson reaches over and dumps hers into his. He's like, waste not, want not, dear.
To that, Karen tips her glass at Jackson.
Jackson toasts across the table to you and takes a longer, deeper draw off the glass now that he's got a bit.
Now, if I could, I would be sipping this every day I could, sitting on a beach somewhere. Now, Gavin, this is wonderful. What are you doing to yourself to not experience this all the time?
Work calls. There is a business. There's demands upon me. One can't simply sit on a beach forever.
But we can try, can't we?
Zafira looks across the table and goes, well, if he'd sell that business like we've been trying to get him to do for years now, maybe he could enjoy himself for a little bit. Gavin looks at Zafira and goes, you know I can't.
Ah, can't. That almost sounds like something that someone who can facilitate things might help with.
My dear, why ruin a good evening, a lovely Friday night out with the disgusting talk of business?
Excellent choice.
As you tip your glasses once more, the camera gets lost in the deep, dark richness of the celestial reserve. And as that blackness pulls away, we see a car slowly but surely pulling up with a mountain on its right-hand side, making its way through the residential district. You, as you head towards Eden Height, You pull up outside a bustling condo complex. A sort of contrast between the residential density and just off in the distance, the beginnings of the agricultural expanses. It's palpable. The air starts to smell just a touch different in the vehicle. Now, for Krill, that's a smell. For Troy, merely data points.
The oxygen smells fresher here. Less rotten and like sewage. Can you smell that?
The air here is typical of a residential zone.
No. Past that, can you smell that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a lovely aroma of life. No? No,
I'm
okay.
afraid I can't. No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're here though. And just before Krill goes out, she sends a message to Patty. I'm sorry I ever complained about your driving.
Patty, there's a brief shot as Patty's slowly working through that last drink, drinking some water too, and then she looks at her codex. Thanks? Question mark. And then it just shuts back to them.
Correct. At least Troy didn't lose a car, at least. That is very true. Krill getting out brings up the map from the ping that she sent out and got returned.
So you get out. The air here is fried food, engine exhaust, soil, fresh air. It's this mixture that residential next to agricultural has. And there's residents moving around, most of them with purpose, faces buried in their various codices or sort of jovially coming or leaving. Some of them having pre-gamed at the residences and now just heading out for their evenings, right? Some in augmented reality, some probably in full virtual reality with their prosthetics just taking them where they need to go. Drone delivery units zipping overhead, self-driving cars weaving their way through the narrow passages of the residences. Amidst all this, though, your senses are sort of on high alert. You don't know why you're here, but you are here. You're in unfamiliar territory on the search. Now, give me a roll. Krill.
-3.
The location that you have is on the other side of a wall. You transit down an alley, sort of this back road adjacent to, and you just find yourself against a wall.
What is this building? Is this Eden Heights? And Krill's like looking long-wise. Is it just like a wall, no details, no garage doors, no entrances?
Give me a roll.
It's +1.
There were entrances that you passed on your walk back here.
She was too much of a, okay, following the map, step, wall. Okay. more concerned that they're inside a building than not. But hey, maybe one's not just in a trash can, destroyed. So let's find my drone. I'm really regretting letting any of them out of my hands now, but I couldn't talk to them and I was worried about them being alone. But
Troy, are you just following Krill as she...
Uh,
Have you stayed with
Troy's-
the vehicle?
Troy stayed with the vehicle for just a moment to go park it,
Okay.
and now he is catching back up to Krill.
Krill is definitely talking to herself in what seems to be a growing panic. Oh god, no, I shouldn't have ever let one out of my sight. Oh god, what just Chip done? Oh no. What has happened to him? Why is my heart racing? Do I have a heart? What is going on here?
Adrenaline levels caused by stress do tend to cause the heart rate to increase.
I guess it's mimicking that system. I don't. Okay. I couldn't even get this worked up before. Doors. I think I saw some that way. Let's see if we can get in. And if not, let's just rip them off their handles. I don't care. I want one back.
Troy, the direction Krill is taking you is back into the parking garage.
Fantastic.
Yes. You are just doubling back to from whence you came.
There's the Troy doesn't say this out loud, but there is that ever so brief thought in his head of humans.
She is not a navigation system. She really isn't.
As you weave your way back into the parking structure, both of you give me a roll.
All right. -1.
+3.
After some searching, Krill, some diligent searching, you find a car. The signal seems to be coming from a vehicle. It's sort of ingeniously tucked away in this sort of service alley that is in the back corner of the parking garage. It's out of sight, but conveniently close to a utility access point. Pretty good for a quick getaway or maybe a discreet meeting.
Krill doesn't just walk up to the car. She has this instinct to get low. She's going to try and, as carefully as she can, just get up to the car and keep an ear out for anyone talking she might hear nearby it.
I suppose Troy's going to duck too, considering the last time we mentioned his height, he was in 6'8" mode.
Okay. Is there anything in particular? So you said you're listening. Are you paying attention to anything else in particular, or is it just you're on high alert with sounds?
Well, she is still looking, but she's also focusing on her footsteps so she's not like stepping on broken glass or anything.
Okay. Give me a roll.
-1.
The paint job on this car is strangely dulled. And as you approach the driver's side, there are odd markings on the door. As if something has come away. As if the paint has been taken away in some fashion.
Go looking at claw marks, scrapes that would be what I'd expect from a wall, dents in the metal.
Are you investigating?
Yeah, she's investigating. That's a 0 on the die.
It looks as if the paint was removed.
Like purposely removed by hands. Damn it, if a +3 didn't give me that. Yeah, no, it's like, is it sandblasting? Is it like a flat grinder?
Can Troy give a shot at trying to investigate?
I mean, you can look at it, yeah.
All right, Troy's gonna look at it. That's a -1. I'm gonna guess same thing.
No, in fact, for Krill, it looks as if the paint was removed. For Troy, it looks as if the paint had been scraped away or something. Like, it's just sort of generic. There's a very specific reason I'm using the word removed.
Like scraped off, like hitting something?
Yeah, for Krill, it's removed. For you, it's, the paint's like, I don't know, scraped away, scratched away. It's just streaks of paint gone.
Less detail, not more.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. The process has been started here, but not finished. Sheepishly, she looks into the vehicle.
Sitting on the center console is a codex.
He left his codex in the car.
What about your drone?
Krill searches further inside to see if she can see the drone anywhere in the backseat, front, anywhere hiding.
Nowhere you can see.
The command chip that is the simple peer-to-peer one is in that codex. We need to get this door open.
Troy examines the door. Is this more classical style where it's all mechanical, or is this more modern style?
It is very much mechanical.
Okay, well, that's closer to Krill's skill set.
She's kind of looking over herself. Normally, she'd have a tool belt or something. Well, she's not someone to like pick locks. She's definitely someone who's able to dismantle a lock. Krill just looks for some sharp metal in the area.
Give me a roll.
Ooh, +3.
What you need?
Krill specifically looking for anything like leftover wire on the ground, clothespins, maybe a broken thing. I'm reading chat, I'm ignoring it. This is a Krill thing. Maybe even just like a broken exterior of a device, anything that is long, sharp, and flat.
Okay.
And metal specifically.
Yeah, there looks to be like a piece of a bumper that probably got peeled off, that there's some sort of like top metal lining to a larger plastic bumper that seems to have, in some small parking structure collision, somebody got a little drunk or aggro one night and has fallen off their vehicle.
This would be perfect. I'm not reading chat. I'm not reading chat. Not letting chat dissuade me in my goal of being Krill.
Just continue.
And thinking about how mechanical locks are, she's just basically creating a 3D projection in her mind.
Mhm.
She's trying to bend this wire just ever so slightly the way she needs. She even breaks off another end of it and makes a hook for herself. And she's just thinking about, okay, lock systems work like this. And putting in the 2 tongles, she tries to jimmy that lock open.
Okay. Give me a roll.
Roll it is. That's a +1.
Okay. So continue.
And that's is it with burglary?
Keep narrating.
Okay. She gets a click as it starts to twist just a little. Her hand is gently sliding upwards with the other. She's jimmying just a little bit more. A little bit more. Come on. Come on. Come on. Click. Click. She's feeling for the second click and it's not all there. She's like, shit. No, come on. Can I
I
make
feel
my
like Troy
second
would be
roll?
smart enough to play lookout here.
Okay.
Just making sure no one's coming up on them. Roll or whatever, or just...
Duly noted.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Little's feeling for that second click and okay. That's 2. Can she get 3? Just her mechanical hands are very actually adept to doing the micro movements, but if she's capable of sweating, she is sweating profusely right now. And she thinks she's got it.
Okay. So what does she do now?
Opens the door.
The door is now locked.
Did it lock all 4 doors?
Have
She
you
just looks in the window to see if all 4 doors are locked now. 'Cause she could hear that.
Give me a roll.
+4 on the die.
No. It's just this door.
She opens up the back door to facing her.
It opens.
Troy can easily see this utter face of fuck me, I hate my life. Of course, Dalton wouldn't lock his doors. Why did I even try?
Hey, I had to learn this lesson the hard way.
I Troy, I thought more of him. I thought more of him. She leans over,
My
reaches for the
expectations of
codex.
Dalton have been very low.
She leans over, reaches for the codex, clicks the back, pulling out the little SIM dongle. I think I have at least 1 port. I don't have enough for all of them, but I think I have at least 1 port in this body. And she slides into the back of her neck and putting in that little slit there. She clicks one into place.
Okay.
And she pings for it again.
How accurate is the...
Well, she should be able to see through its eyes if she wanted to at this point.
What is its night vision capability?
1 actually wouldn't have that great a night vision capability.
Okay. Then what
3
you
or 4, that's different.
what you see is a slight slit of light, and
Horizontally or vertically?
vertically, and then just a lot of darkness around you.
Vertically. That could be outside. Krill, reaching around, unlocks the front door,
Okay.
opens that up, It just pops the hood in the trunk.
Okay. The view through the number one lights up at least
Knew
a
it.
little bit, and there is now light streaming in through an area. You can easily see it's in the trunk.
Wanting
It's
to
on its
say that
side.
so bad.
Out of character, I thought that was the case too, but I remember I'm playing Krill. She's extremely smart and extremely stupid all at the same time. Chip, come here. Come to Mom. And she quickly runs to the back and scoops up her drone. When she's looking it over, is it okay? Is its thrusters okay?
It's fine.
And with a gentle toss, she lets it lift up into the air around her. Okay. You got our drone. I guess we can go back now.
What about the whereabouts of Dalton?
Right, that was what we were also here for. I did forget about that part. She kind of just gestures to that maintenance door that's really close. I suspect there, but only because he's parked right up against it.
I was about to ask, Krill grabbed the codex, right?
Yeah, no, she's got the codex.
Okay.
She opens it up and just checks, are there any, like, messages left over or anything? Not that this man would know how to use his fucking codex to do that.
There is.
Oh.
There are two messages that are from today. One from you, and another one from earlier from an anonymous address that said to meet at this location.
How long ago?
It is approximately 8:30 pushing 9. It came in at about 2 p.m.
That doesn't bode well. Dalton received this message at 2 p.m. Approximately 7.5 hours ago. Or 8.5 hours ago. Why would he leave his codex behind?
Does the message state the purpose of the rendezvous?
It does not. In fact, it doesn't even have a known caller ID. But it was enough for Dalton to trust it and put his codex down.
I did not suspect Dalton to be the trusting type.
He didn't take anything from the armory as far as I could tell either.
Is there anything else just kind of lying around real quickly, just throwing some stuff at the wall, like signs of a struggle within the vicinity of the car?
Give me an investigation check.
Alrighty. That's a -1.
No.
Alright.
What are you looking for?
Potential signs of a struggle. Perhaps there is an indication of the direction he went after exiting the vehicle.
This is a perfect opportunity for a drone to help. And Krill, using number 1, starts to just do an overhead scan of the area.
Give me a roll.
0 on the die.
Nothing much. There's footsteps all over the place. There's footprints all over the place. It's a highly trafficked area. There's many instances of tire marks on the ground. There's no blood that you can see. There's just the comings and goings of a fairly well-trafficked residential parking garage.
Even with my investigation understanding of things, I do not actually see much of a struggle, just lots of traffic.
Does your drone store recordings of its activities in memory?
It is toggleable. We can see if Dalton remembered to turn it off, if that was his intention. But he was also in the trunk. I suspect we will see a lot of trunk, but it's worth a check. Krill does go back through number one's memory.
There is not much that is included in this recording. There's two things that stand out as you scrub through this video. For the first time, you hear Dalton talking, but you only hear one side of a conversation.
Is he talking to number one? That's odd. She listens if there's any names or connotations given.
And then there is this sort of blackness and silence, and then the car comes to a stop. You hear the ceasing of the road sounds and the movements. And you hear, "Don't worry, bud. Leave it. You won't need it where you're going."
Krill saves that audio segment on herself as well. I do not recognize this voice. Apparently, they knew Dalton well enough. He seemed to have had a full conversation with them, with the other person not joining in until the very end. And she sends the audio clip to Troy as well.
I highly doubt Troy recognizes the voice. It's like you wanted to say something there, Kai. Okay.
As you two ponder this,
All right.
as you stare into the blackness of the recording, listening to this voice over and over again, the camera cuts. And we see Patty walking out of a bar, joined by her new friend, Gruff, as he's shutting down the bar. And it seems Patty has sort of closed out the bar. The bullet hole doesn't stay open too late. I think Gruff probably somewhere along the way found that having a bunch of PTSD veterans really drunk at 2 a.m. is probably not the wisest of decisions. And so they tend to shut the bar down. Nears makes no difference. 9 p.m. Get everybody home, safe, tucked in, get a little water in them, sort of thing. But Patty seems to have helped close out the bar tonight. Well, thanks for helping me close up shop, Patty. Thanks for closing Thanks for helping me close up shop, Upchuck.
Look, we're outside of the bar. Just call me Patty. I don't normally like people calling me Upchuck, right? It's a whole thing, but I like that place, so that's my name there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We all need a place.
Well, I'm glad I found this place. I wasn't even meaning to. I got a question before I go, though. Any of the people around here in like an exercise group? Like, I like to keep in shape and such, keep myself fit, and I know a bit here and there about fitness and shit.
Well, I gotta tell you, most of our clientele is they're a little beat up and worse for wear, and not too focused on their health these days. You might be alone in that one, but I mean, next time you're in, you can ask around.
Yeah, I mean, I could always give my codex to you, and anybody who's just like has that like crisis moment where they're like, "Shit, my body's falling apart." You have them hit me up.
Can't hurt.
hmm I I appreciate you, Griff. Sorry, Gruff. Oh God, the alcohol, man.
Yeah, we've all had a few tonight. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the first time in a long while I've gotten pretty hammered and not started a fight. Felt good.
Sounds like you got a little growing to do.
Don't we all?
Fuck no. I'll be pushing up daisies soon enough. About the only growth I got left in me.
Patty almost says, like, she almost like encourages, but she's like, she just nods. Good night, Gruff. I'll see you later.
Good night. Good night, Patty.
And she just gives that 2-finger salute before she heads on back. She sends a quick message to the different groups. She's like, I'm heading home. I'm probably going to get some sleep. Be ready for Dalton in the morning.
As Patty sends that message out, the camera cuts, and we see the outside of Setabello, and we see the our foursome standing outside the front awning, and Zafira and Jackson are doing the obligatory kisses sort of thing. And just, oh, it has been wonderful, darling. Oh, yes. Oh, we must do this again. Next Friday?
Ooh. My Fridays are clear.
Gavin, of course, will be here, but he's here every Friday. But we can make arrangements as well. Oh, you must stop by. And she swipes across her art gallery details, as it were. So you see very simply just ABNFHU, right? It's just that's what it goes by, is just the letters ABNFHU. And there's an address, there's a location centrally located in the commerce zone. It's not that far from the base. It's not that far from Central Terminal. It's not that far from you.
What a beautiful location for your gallery.
We try. So stop in anytime. I'm there most days.
I'll have to pay you a visit.
Lovely, darling. And she loops her arm into Jackson's arm, and they sort of let's go, dear. Gavin sort of left. He sort of on his own is a little bit awkward in his sort of highbrow way, right? He sort of relies on the company of others to smooth and enact the social graces, as it were, right? He just sort of, thank you for a lovely evening.
Yes, you as well. And if you are interested, like I said, I am a facilitator. If you want my info, I can help you find ways to remove problems.
Yeah. Yes. I will take that information, please.
My pleasure. And Karen sends over her contact info.
He pulls out his codex and swipes over his information as well. Well, I best be going home. It's been a lovely evening, Karen. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And the pleasure was all mine, and I cannot thank you enough for letting me taste that celestial reserve.
Well, we'll have to see if we can't arrange an occasion for another tasting.
I look forward to that happening.
Gavin turns around and starts walking down the street, and you see him step into a car. Person opens the door for him, and he steps in, and the door is closed, and the man goes around the front, gets into the driver's seat, and drives off. As we watch those taillights fade, the camera just comes down to a center point and fades to black.